Hello everyone, HazzaJC here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is going to be the first part in a series of interviews where I talk to different people from the esports space. Today we are very lucky to be in the presence of Gorilla. Who are you and what is your role in the scene?
So my name's Harry. I'm the analyst of Team Vitality, and I mainly just focus on pre-match preparation, highlighting problems within the team, like strategic problems, and bringing new ideas, to theory sessions and different approaches.
The best way to start this interview off from one Harry to another would be to explain how we got into contact with each other in the first place and how you got your start in VALORANT.
Yeah.
Obviously 2 years ago now the university scene began to kick off. What was your experience with that and how do you find yourself in this position today?
Yeah, so I started all the way back in like season 1 of UK Valorant when it was just Hazza and Wishy Washy doing it. I was with Brunel University down here in London, and like I'm about to like just say goodbye to that in a few days. Placed top 3, but it's like which was our best, but like it's mainly with the UKV is the people that I met along the way, right? Like obviously introduced to you, loads of other UEA people like Maximus who helped me, basically invited me to join his team, and that's kind of like how I really properly got started with competitive Valorant. Like constant practices, scrims, everything. And then after that, like I just transitioned to coaching because it's what I thought I wanted to do more. And the rest is history. Like here we are, like a year down the line, like after I quit playing, and where I am.
Yeah, I mean UKV as a whole, it sort of spawned itself out of nowhere really, and it made this beautiful thing which now of course has resulted in you being in a coach analyst role, Yinsu as a host, myself as a caster. That's where I first started out. Now of course though you are with Vitality. What's your experience been with the org so far and how has the support that you've received from them been?
Yeah, so like way back in CS, like I was a massive fan of the Vitality roster. Everyone's seen the photo of me like at Blast London back in 2020 with my little Vitality jersey on. Like when they asked me to trial, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like of course I'll trial for you. Like I was a little fan inside me. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, no, Vitality's been amazing. Like they're showing the care. They're really involved in the team. Like they're constantly checking up on us. Like boot camp was amazing. It's just honestly the support they give us and the support that the like fans, like the Golden Hornets, the SV group, like they're honestly just. I couldn't ask for anything more, really. Like,
yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, the support that they've given you guys has been absolutely fantastic. You had, obviously, the chance to visit them in France as well and get a hands-on experience with such a large org. What was your main takeaways from that? How has that affected your view of the space and the direction that things are heading in?
Yeah, so like our facility is in Saint Denis in Paris. It's inside the Stade de France. Like it's like a mini office kind of thing. But it's huge on the inside. And like just the facilities and the equipment and everything in there is just, you couldn't ask for anything more. Like I'm really excited for if we get franchising, and we get to move to either Berlin or Barcelona or wherever it is. So that we can have that on a day-to-day basis, because honestly when we went, like everything just felt like it was falling into place. It was just like the chemistry between us all just clicked instantly. Like it was just, it makes me really excited for the future, honestly. Like
So obviously you spoke about team spirit there and how the chemistry has improved throughout the season. We know that you started off the season on a more difficult note, 1-3, moving then with a 14-game streak, winning 13 of those, only dropping 1 game to secure your second position in the league table as a whole before then going into the knockout stages. It was such a big turnaround for the team. Would you say that the chemistry that you have with one another was instrumental in doing that?
for sure it was a definite factor. Like it was just the kind of underlying thing of we know we're good enough to be the best in the league. Like, and when we play, we like in practice, like we feel like we're the best, but something wasn't clicking in officials at the start. Then we bring in our mental coach, Karen, who's been like so good in helping us. You know, like she basically has just brought out everybody's confidence, everybody's like belief in each other is, you know, just up tenfold. Yeah, and it was kind of just like the feeling where it's like we know inside, but we couldn't actually show it, and now we're actually doing it. We're a new roster, completely new support staff, new everyone. Like nerves are gonna get to you, you know.
I mean, that's got to be one of the main beneficiaries of being in an org like that as well, because you have access to all these different facilities and different people that can come in and help rectify those issues when things go the other way. I know as well during the season, things weren't always plain sailing. You had to step in as coach. You had been playing, you had been in a coaching role before with Duck Gaming and with Vexed. Before being in this analyst role at FPX and now Vitality, what was it like then shifting back into, I guess, a familiar space for you? But what were your main takeaways, obviously in a different environment as a coach?
Yeah, so I have quite a different like style to Tanny. So I tried to like kind of alter my own because I'm very hands-on, you know, like I will pick apart like everything. So I tried to take a more like hands-off approach, let the players, you know, take control because I didn't want to change anything too drastic. At the end of the day, like it was only a temporary change and we're mid-season, you know, like we didn't want to basically shove them into an uncomfortable space. But yeah, like I did the best that I could, and obviously it was enough. And during my time, we redid Breeze because obviously, like the week before, we'd just been completely railed by Mad Lions. So we completely redid Breeze, and it worked wonders for us. It's becoming one of our best maps, just straight up.
Yeah, because you were then able to beat Carmine Corp on that specific map. I think it was in one of the games that you stepped in for with 100% win rate. So, I mean, that's definitely something to be bragging about. I think it does speak volumes about the system that you're a part of, though, when you're able to seamlessly change personnel and there not be a visible effect on the way that the gameplay changes within the team, that it could just be that simple transition within the staff. Moving away then from the regular season into VRL Finals, that also didn't get off to the best of starts with the 0-2 against 10 Star being a very close series in itself. From the analyst role, of course, it was one of your duties to then rectify some of those problems. How did you go about changing things to then push on and really do a fantastic job in making your way through that bracket towards a second place finish?
Yeah, well, like it was kind of the same as VRL France, like the regular season. You know, we know we're good enough to be here. We know we're good enough to beat them. It's just they played just unreal on that day. The mid-round calls were amazing. Like their overall game plan, they came in prepared. They came in like ready for what we were going to do. And it was mainly just due to our own faults. So it's basically we highlighted what we are meant to do against this, but we honestly shove it to the back of our mind and we focus on the XL game because we take it game by game, because there's no point in thinking about a game where you might not even get to play again. Like if we got knocked out against XL, you know, there's no point. So the main thing was just to focus on XL. We won against XL 2-0 if I remember correctly. Go on to 10 Star, and then everyone is like, right, they're gonna pick bind. We just need to mentally prepare ourselves for it. It is our worst, it's, you know, one of our worst maps, right? So it's like we just need to mentally prepare ourselves and be like, right, we just give it our all, we just play really loose, you know, and then we go down like 2-10 at the end of the first half. And then I'm pretty sure Bone Cold was just like, guys, do we want to win this game? And then everyone said yes, and then we just pulled a massive comeback, and it's like it was kind of unreal.
I mean, like, it must be crazy working with characters like Bone Cold as well. You mentioned they have experience on those big European stages. Another game to highlight as well would be against Footballists, when you had a similar experience, down 11-1 on the half and were able to turn it around. I think you said you had some insight for us on that game as well.
Yeah. So Ascent, like we knew that we were going to win that game. Like even though we were 11-1 down, we just knew, because nobody, well, apart from Footballists in the grand final, no one beats us on Ascent. Like each time it's kind of like a running joke. Like, come on, just pick it, you know? Like, sorry. It's like the last time that we lost an Ascent game was back at the start of May, like the 3rd of May, I'm pretty sure it was. And since then, we've never lost an ascent in practice or in an official. So it's like we're just really confident on it. Like we have really good fundamental on it. Like we have good defaults, good setups. Like we're very adaptive on it, and everyone's on a comfort agent. So it's like, it's of course it's gonna be one of our best maps.
So with that finish then in VRL Finals, I would say that for you, you've got to be pretty impressed with how you were able to do, from the start coming into the role and then finishing in that position at the end, taking second place home. What are your hopes now for the new Tier 2 circuit, which Riot recently announced coming up soon? And how do you look forward to how that will affect the scene as a whole? You spoke about franchising, perhaps it's not something that you'll be directly involved with, but what does this mean for the general ecosystem of Valorant as a whole?
I mean, I've always said that franchising itself would be a really good thing for Valorant. Having a consistent, few teams that literally just battle it out, I think honestly it's a great system. And because Riot will actively encourage these teams to pick up secondary rosters, there's going to be a path to progression. But because, there was quite a lot of backlash about it, and Riot released the whole thing where you actually have a path of progression now, I think it's only going to make it stronger.
Yeah.
Keeping that dream of from zero to hero alive, unicorns of love, League of Legends. Yeah, so no, I think it's going to be really good. I would have liked to see maybe an 8th region in Europe, because the 7 regions kind of is really awkward and honestly a bit unfair. Especially one team is a 3-team round robin and the other's a GSL group. It's kind of unfair.
Yeah.
Or maybe multiple teams from each of the VRLs. So it's maybe 3 teams from France, 3 from Spain, 2 from Northern Europe, to kind of balance it out. But honestly, I'm super happy they're doing it for all the regions though. I think it's, we're going to see some really good talent, and it's going to make scouting new players if needed a lot more interesting, because I for one want to see be a forefront figure, and let's help these players progress throughout their career.
Looking at these top teams then that will be competing in these different tournaments, I have a few more general questions to talk to you about the game as a whole. How do you think teams can develop to play more optimally in the way that they set themselves up and really make their way to the apex of Valorant? Because how things are currently, there's no real top dog, and I think that was hammered home with Masters Copenhagen, with FPX coming in, with those subs at the start, then finding their way through that bracket and eventually, I want to say dethroning Optic, but not really. I mean, they did just end up winning the tournament, but ultimately it was the fact that the team that had won previously fell short, and we find ourselves in yet another situation where there is no de facto king of Valorant, I suppose.
I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a de facto king of Valorant, at least not for a while. The game changes so frequently, and there's so many different factors. With CS, you only have your economy. With Valorant, you have your ult economy and all your abilities on top of that. So I don't think there's going to be a de facto thing. And it's for that exact same reason, whereas you should literally, as a new team, and if you want to play very well very quickly, just focus on the basics. Focus on your trading, your spacing, peeking off flashes and converting your advantages, and you're going to be better than, honestly, 75% of teams. Even in high VRL level, there are teams that don't focus on it. Sector 1, who previously, I'm calling shots here. Sector 1, who previously won VRL France, had really overcomplicated plans with weird comps to try and catch people off guard, but they couldn't trade and they couldn't convert their advantages, and it's that you can have a really complex plan, but if you can't do the basics right, it's really it just won't work for you.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much touches my next question, which would have been what you think the most important aspects of a team performance are, which should be practiced. But then that segues on nicely to the next question I had after that, which would be, what do these successful teams value the most? What is the most important to them, other than the fundamentals in making a good performance?
Honestly, getting along with your teammates.
Yeah.
I've been on teams where people are bickering behind other people's back, like messaging other people behind the backs, messaging me as a coach behind other people's backs. And it's like, if you don't get along with your teammates, you're never going to be able to trust them in the server. And, you know, it's just kind of the thing where it's like, you get along with your teammates, you enjoy playing with your teammates, you enjoy like the game, and you have fun. You know, like people don't realize like how messy teams communications can get. Like when they're even when they're just having fun. Like, but the thing is, it all flows and it all works. Whereas if you just hate each other and it feels like a chore to turn up, you know, for practice, and you don't want to do it because you don't like X or you don't like Y, it's never gonna work. So like, you know, like your teammates, you know, get along with them. You know, you're only probably going to be with them for like 3 hours a day, or maybe 4. Like, it's not that deep.
I
you
think,
know, you're all on the same goal, you know.
Yeah, like sometimes the best advice is stuff that should go unspoken, really. Like getting along with your teammates should probably be like step 1 of whatever you want to try and achieve from then onwards. So looking at the teams which EMEA have now put forward, with the last chance qualifiers having concluded across all of the regions, and the teams that we see in the group stages, how do you favour them to do in this final tournament of the year in VCT?
I expect them all to get out of groups. Whether it's with like, you know, just going flawless or through lower. Like, I don't think any EMEA team gets knocked down to lowers in the first round. I think it's mainly in the winners match. But I expect, what is it, FPX, Fnatic, and Liquid, right? Like they should all go through. I think Liquid are looking really good now, like with the addition of Emil. Like he's done bits. Like, you know, I'm obviously on a team which scrims, you know, top teams regularly. And, you know, we've been scrimming Liquid even with their previous coach, but, you know, after Sliggy. And just the difference just between then and now is just like incredible. Like they are so well drilled now. But yeah, like I think Champs is also the tournament we're going to see FPX win again.
Yeah.
Like back to back. Like, yeah, like these guys, they're insane. Having been on that team and just knowing exactly, you know, how they play and what the comms are like, and they're, trust me, like it's only the start. Sugetsu and Artists are only gonna get better.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I went to Copenhagen and I saw them on LAN. Sugetsu and Artists specifically, I mean, just turn into completely different beasts once they went onto that stage. Once their full potential was unleashed, they were certainly a force to be reckoned with. And I'm sure that the same can certainly be said for Istanbul. So with that being said, are there any other teams that you would be looking at outside of the region to put in big performances here?
I think Leviathan are gonna make it far. Like these guys, like their coach owner, like I think he's doing something right. Like he did bits with Crew, like he developed them into like a top team in the world, and then he goes to Leviathan and Crew like in a steady decline. You know, they had to get through LCQ this time. They got grouped at the last Masters, and meanwhile Leviathan are just getting better and better and better. Like I think he's got it sorted out. And honestly, like we stole a lot of stuff from Leviathan. Like just because they're just so good. Like just everything about them is just great. Like their drills, their setups, their XX, the way that they default, the ideas that they bring, like it's just incredible. I think like we could possibly see Leviathan like semi, maybe final, like, you know, run. Like it's I genuinely think they're incredible. Like I think DRX I think DRX are gonna like get grouped. Really? Which is kind of a hot take, They have a hard group, right?
There's Edward in there as well, who've come through from East Asia,
I think
LCQ. How do you think they're gonna do?
They'll get grouped as well.
Really?
Paper X and Liquid, I think, are the other two, right? They get grouped.
Okay.
I did a pod review of Edward on my stream. I watched like 3 maps. I don't get what the hype is about, man. Like, I don't know what it's about.
You don't think Edward is gaming then?
No.
Okay. Interesting. Well, with that being said then, Gorilla, what is next for you? Obviously, now with VRL Finals being wrapped up, we've got Champions, but then we'll be going into some more third-party tournaments. You know, there's now that sort of dedicated off-season break for different third-party tournaments to come in. I mean, you probably can't share any details with tournaments that you're involved with there, but how's the next few weeks, months looking in terms of preparation for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're basically everyone's just on the edge of their seat, you know, waiting for you know, one of the esports ops guys to message our Discord and be like, we're in. You know, that's all we kind of really want right now. And would probably be the climax of our year, because it's like, you know, we've all been working hard, whether it's on Vitality or whether it's on previous teams as well. This is all that we wanted, is to be in this partnership for next year. And honestly, I think that'd be a massive party if we got it. But going forward in the next few months, is like, we're currently on a break, a well-deserved break. We've played almost 400 like maps since April. Together, so it's like we're taking a long break, and it's like we're coming back within the next 2-3 weeks, you know, to try and scrim some of the international teams, because that's always fun. But yeah, like it's mainly just we're gonna try and go to, you know, try and qualify for Red Bull home ground. I think not really doing too much, honestly, and just kind of chilling.
Twiddling your thumbs and waiting for that next big event to come up.
Literally.
But I mean, at this point in time, you said as well, franchising. I believe you mentioned it earlier on. You said that there was a potential super team on the cards if you have the right conditions. I mean, how are you really feeling about the challenge of getting your teeth sunk into Tier 1 and, you know, really going for it in VCT next year?
Yeah, I mean, even with this roster, you know, like if we're like. When we were like together on bootcamp, we felt like a super team. Like we felt like nobody could you know, stop us. Like literally nobody. And you know, if that is a permanent thing, if we do get the partnership, and going forward, we're going to feel just like that again. Like I'm without a shadow of a doubt. Like, because everybody likes each other too. You know, we're finishing scrims, we're going to go have a game of ping pong whilst we wait for the next scrim. You know, like. You know, so like we felt like a super team, and I have no doubts that's going to continue.
Unfortunately, the last minute or so of footage was corrupted, so I wasn't able to use it in the final cut. Thank you so much to Gorilla, though, for lending me some of his time and giving us some insight and perspective as to what it's like to be a coach or analyst for one of those top tier teams in Valorant. With that being said, you can find all of the links of Gorilla in the description below, as well as myself. I will be posting a couple of vlogs from my journeys with casting in the next few days or so, so make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can keep updated as to when those will be going live. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time.